Hey guys, we got an incredible edition of the Florida Panthers Insider Podcast today. Mackie Samoskevich joins the show, and we talk about the Panthers week this week on the Florida Panthers Insider. I don't know why it's doing that. All right, well, welcome to another edition of the Florida Panthers Insider Podcast. My name is Josh Licht. I'm hosting the show with you today, and I'm excited because, as always, with me is the man, the myth, the legend, the editor of Florida Hockey Now, George Richards. George,
Hey,
you look like you're maybe in a different spot today. How's it going?
Josh, because it's Halloween, I figured we'd go on location, right? We're at the haunted house. We're at a haunted house. It doesn't look like it, but it's going to transform into a haunted house in a couple hours. They've got the webbing, the black lights that I'm at the Iceplex. They're not doing that.
Well, it kind of does look like a horror movie behind you, though. Like it looks like you're in a basement.
Ooh,
Yeah, you got the spooky lights.
ooh, spooky. Very spooky. No, we're at the Iceplex today, Florida Panthers, celebrating Halloween by having another practice, and it was open to the public. Good crowd here in Fort
Yeah.
Lauderdale, and a lot of kids dressed up in their Halloween best. So it was a very festive morning here in Fort Lauderdale with the Florida Panthers.
George, what's your go-to Halloween candy?
Any and all. I like it all, my friend. I am not picky when it comes to Halloween candy. I mean, I'll go with the traditionals, right? We always talk about the Snicker bars, right? The Snicker bars are a first round selection.
Of course.
The Reese cups, the Reese pumpkins, anything Reese related are terrific. I like those little the Smarties. Those are good.
Yeah.
I like candy corn. I'll put candy corn as a third or a fourth round pick in the
Wow.
selection because you only get them once a year. I know Publix sells them year round, um, but candy corn is a Halloween staple. And I just always hated getting pennies as a kid. But I think the way things are going with the economy these days, I'd take them.
I think they're not making pennies anymore. Isn't that what they say? So no more pennies. But it's interesting with the Halloween candy selection because I feel like when you're a kid, you always got little candy, and now there's like an expectation from kids that you're gonna get big bars. So we went to Costco, got the big candy bars. I'm ready. Like if these kids show up, I'm giving them the big candy bars because that's what they expect.
Well, we're
I
coming
wish
to
we
your
got that when
house,
we were kids.
Josh. I mean, you got all this podcast money apparently that you're able to get the king
The
size
big bars.
bars. My
Yeah,
goodness, what's
yeah.
going on
Took a
there?
hit. Took a hit to
Woo!
the credit card. Got the big bars. So we got the Twix. We got the Hershey's. It's gonna be a great night. Um,
That was a
so
great night.
speaking of a great night, last Saturday the Panthers had a kind of a sigh of relief win,
Yeah.
big win on Saturday against the Vegas Golden Knights. 3-0 shutout with Bobrovsky posting his 50th career shutout. Now, let me ask you this, George. Did you notice who's one spot above Sergei Bobrovsky in the all-time shutout list? And maybe you didn't, but I noticed it.
Of course I did. It's our buddy, Vokoun.
Tomasz
Thomas
Vokoun.
Vokoun, our buddy, who we're going to get on this show eventually. I love Thomas
Yeah.
Vokoun. One of the more underrated Florida Panthers in history, in my opinion. I think Thomas Vokoun had a fantastic career here with the Panthers. The timing just wasn't right. I mean, the team was
Yeah.
terrible around him, but Thomas Vokoun still lives here in South Florida, and we're going to get him on this show eventually. But yeah, Thomas Vokoun next up on that shutout list as far as players born outside the United States. That is, that's I think Bobrovsky's the sixth or seventh international goalie
Yeah.
to hit 50 shutouts, and Thomas Vokoun is right in front of him. So
For the ups and downs of a Panthers franchise in the last, 30 plus years, they've had a
Goaltending.
lot of really good
Yeah.
goalies, a lot of
That
really good goalies from Luongo, Vukun, Bobrovsky, Van Beesbrook, just a lot of really good goaltending in South Florida.
Florida always had good goaltending, and even when you had that little gap, um, when you had Mike Vernon here in 2000 as a stopgap for Trevor Kidd, um, what did they do? They went out and traded for Roberto Luongo, and then they trade Roberto Luongo away, and you bring in Alex Auld, you bring in Ed Belfour, and then Vokun steps in. Then you have Craig Erickson as his backup. I mean, the Florida Panthers have always had
Jose
good
Theodore,
goaltending.
Jose Theodore, and then Tim
Jose
Thomas
Theodore,
for a
yeah,
minute. Yeah, lots of good
good old
goalies.
Jose. I remember
Well, hey,
one time a TV guy came up and said, "Hey, Jose," he goes, "Only George can call me Jose. It's Jose."
Jose Theodore. Well,
We love
George, talk
playing
about
him.
that game though. Talk about that game for the Panthers in the Vegas Golden Knights.
Well, we talked about it on our last episode, Josh, that we figured that the Florida Panthers were going to come to play Saturday night against the Vegas Golden Knights, and boy, howdy, did they. Florida Panthers looked like the Florida Panthers throughout the entire 60 minutes of that game against Vegas. Few teams have gotten under the skin of the Panthers over the past couple of years like Vegas. You still have a bunch of those guys who remember being on that ice in 2023 when Vegas celebrated the
Mhm.
Stanley Cup championship. They have not forgotten it. And Florida's won 4 of the 5 games since that game 5 at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. So the Panthers brought it. They had the forecheck going on there. They were terrific in front of Bob. Bob was outstanding. Listen, Vegas maybe was a little bit off. They had flown the day before, but they were 5-0-2 coming into the game. They were the last team in the NHL to lose a regulation game. Um, Vegas is going to be a Stanley Cup contender in the Western Conference, and that was a good win for the Panthers.
Yeah, and I feel like the Panthers, they always seem to get up for big games, which I know can be really frustrating for, fans when you
Yeah,
have a hard game against a team that's lower seeded, should be. But it does seem like when those big moments come, and like you mentioned, they remember past, failure against the Vegas Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup final.
yeah.
They do seem to get up for those games, and it definitely felt like the vibe was different on Saturday, like they were coming and just charging ahead. And of course, Bobrovsky puts on a incredible performance.
And let's not forget that the Panthers weren't very happy with the result of the previous game, that Thursday game against Pittsburgh. And again, like we had talked about, Florida had looked terrific. The second half of that game against the Penguins, they just, gave up a couple odd looking goals, never could come all the way back against the Penguins, but they looked right in the
Mm.
second half of that game against the Penguins, and they certainly looked right the entirety of the Vegas game. So listen, when Florida wants to play, they're terrific. I mean, they can play that terrific game. The problem is that in an 82 game season, they can't play that way every game. You just can't. Talking to Paul Maurice about it on Wednesday, he was like, "We would love to play that game. We would love to play that, but we'd be everybody on the team would be injured. You just can't do it through the course of an 82 game season. They're trying to figure it out other ways. We saw it Tuesday night against the Anaheim Ducks. The forecheck was non-existent. It's hard to fake that style. You just can't get juiced up for it. Now, the final 10 minutes of the game, the Panthers were coming, but that was more desperation about the score. Florida's down 2-0. Analytically, Florida dominated that game against Anaheim. They were able to get a shorthanded goal and a 5-on-3 power play goal all within a span of 4 minutes to take that 2-0 lead. Florida played great the final 10 minutes of the third period. Yeah, okay. I guess if you're a paying customer, that is frustrating. That they don't see, but it's not that they don't care. It's just tough to get up for some of those games. And a Tuesday night against Anaheim, a team you do not see, tough to do.
Yeah, and I mean that was a game too where there was a lot of push. It felt like back and forth, and they were able to get up there at the end. And then the shootout at the end too. I felt like that whole overtime. It felt like there was an
Yeah.
anticipation in the building, like, oh, it's gonna happen,
And I think
and they
there was
just
an
couldn't get it done.
anticipation for the Panthers. I mean, they
Yeah,
completely dominated that overtime period. And
yeah,
granted, the final 2.5 minutes were on the power play, and it's a 4-on-3 power play. You need to score. Lucas Vestal, the goalie for the Anaheim Ducks, was absolutely terrific. Again, for the past couple of years, the Panthers have had a target on their back. The Anaheim Ducks played like they were playing the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions, and great win for Joel Quenneville and his Anaheim Ducks on Tuesday.
Well, and isn't it true too? As much as we talk about the Panthers getting up for big games, against Vegas on the previous Saturday,
Yeah,
other teams get up for the Panthers, right?
yeah,
I mean, for
yeah.
them, it's a big deal to take out the two-time defending champs. And so, even a game that maybe the Panthers go in going, I don't know if this game is going to be, the most difficult game. The other team is amped up and wanting
Sure.
to make a statement. And I think that's the price that you pay. That's the cost of being a winner, right? Is that you're constantly getting everybody's best game, because everybody's got something to prove against you.
And you're certainly going to see that a lot on the road, right? Because that's where, the radio advertisements. Hey, come out to the arena tomorrow night to see the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions. The Florida Panthers have cachet
Yeah,
throughout the league. They are the gold standard right now, and if your team's struggling a little bit, or if you're the San Jose Sharks per se, or the Anaheim, this gives you a lot of credibility if you're able to go out and not only go toe to toe with the two-time defending champs, but get a win. That's huge. I mean, we saw it back in the days when Florida would welcome in the Chicago Blackhawks, or Florida
hmm
would welcome in, the Detroit Red
Pittsburgh.
Wings, Pittsburgh, and get a win, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh!" The truth of it was Pittsburgh really, or had they gone out the night before and got sunburnt and that that
Hit
kind
the
of thing?
beach.
Yeah, they were, they had the Fort Lauderdale flu. But that's the case. Is Anaheim going to beat the Florida Panthers in a 7-game series? Zero chance, no chance whatsoever. But on Tuesday night, and maybe this coming Tuesday night, the Panthers are in Anaheim. Maybe the Panthers go 0 for 2 Anaheim. I don't know, but will it matter at the end of the day? It will not.
Did you enjoy seeing the Mighty Ducks logo back on the away uniforms for Anaheim? I thought that was a
I
lot of
love,
fun.
yeah, I love what's that? The Flying Duckman or something? I don't know what it's called. The Duck Wing cometh. I don't know. I hated Anaheim's old logo, and I saw that on a couple bags. I was here at the Iceplex. So they have some of the old travel bags where it's just that webbed foot.
hmm
Terrible logo. Oh my, that is
Yeah,
the worst logo
just the
ever.
D. Yeah.
Just yeah, it's that web, that foot. Terrible. So
Well, I love the old logo.
the old logo, they never should have changed it, but they wanted to
Yeah.
get more serious. And get out of here with that. Now the uniforms. We could have a whole show about the Anaheim Ducks orange unis. And you're going to see them in all orange come Tuesday night in Anaheim. At least here on Tuesday, they were wearing the white tops with the orange pants and the orange helmets. When they go all orange, woof, that is a bad look. The logo looks great.
Logo looks
Logo
good.
looks great, but that orange, ugh. And I get
Well, I
it,
don't know. I
Orange
mean,
County and
no,
whatever.
nobody liked the eggplant and teal look or green look that they had
It's a
before
great
either.
look.
So I know, but I'm just saying, people were against that. So it's
Go
interesting that
go
they
purple and teal and white, and you're good to go. Go back to the '90s, man.
everything should go back to the
Go
90s.
back to the
Everything was better
grape.
in the 90s. I saw
Things were
somebody
good in
say
the
the other
'90s.
day, the reason that you don't hear about time travel is because everyone that can time travel has gone back to the 90s.
They just stayed. They
And
just
they
stuck
just hung
around.
out there.
Yeah.
Concerts
Why
were
go?
$20,
Right.
sports was at an all-time high.
Yeah. We're just starting to get satellite TV, so you can watch your team. Yeah. Why? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
You didn't
Why
have to
move
deal
on?
with the internet anymore.
No, no internet.
Good times. Well, we do have the two games to look at, and one of the hallmark characteristics of that game against the Ducks was a missing player, and that's Brad Marchand.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Brad wasn't there. And of course, on a team that's already missing Sasha Barkov and Matthew Tkachuk, it was very noticeable that Brad was missing. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about what we know now about why Brad wasn't there on Tuesday night?
Yeah, we were here at practice, and Brad Marchand wasn't here. I believe it was Monday. And we asked Paul Maurice, why is Brad Marchand? He's, well, personal issue. Said he had a death in the family circle, so we left it alone. And we're not getting into, And it turns out that one of his childhood friends, a guy he grew up with, JP MacCallum, coaches a junior team up in Halifax, Nova Scotia. His 10-year-old daughter had been fighting cancer and succumbed to cancer and passed away. And so Brad Marchand left the Panthers to be with his friend. And apparently all their childhood, they all went up. And really tough time, obviously, for the MacCallum family. But, for Brad Marchand, all those guys, that is a very tight-knit group. In Halifax, Nova Scotia, the hockey community up there is extremely tight. I don't know if people understand how connected all those guys are. You look at Brad Marchand and Sidney Crosby; they're best buds, and Brad Marchand was like he and JP are like brothers. So of course he went up there, and he ended up, I believe it was Wednesday night, replaced JP behind the bench of that junior team and coached the team. It was a benefit game for the family, and Brad Marchand did a great, really nice thing and donated a jersey to raffle off to raise more money. And so, our hearts go out to them. That's just such a tough time. And you put that, the hockey stuff aside. Of course, the Panthers, of course, go, man. I mean, life is bigger than hockey. So, we'll send our condolences to the family there.
Yeah, and there's a lot more information too available. I know there's a link out there where people
Yep.
can donate. We'll make sure that gets out on our socials and in the
Yep.
comments of this video.
Yep.
And make sure
Good
you
cause.
check that out. You can support Selah and the MacCallum family. But yeah, good on Brad to say, I'm going to go up there and do this, and really good on the Panthers to say, like you mentioned, life is bigger than this. I think that in some scenarios, there's teams that would have really pushed back on guys wanting to leave, and in this case, the Panthers are like, we're not pushing back at all. You got to go do you, and that's what makes
it could have been a playoff game, and they would have said go.
Yeah,
not just a rando Tuesday game. No. Things are bigger in life than a hockey game, and listen, Brad Marchand felt he had to go. Of course he did. And he'll be back. He'll be back Saturday night against the Dallas Stars. And but I'm sure is with a heavy heart.
All right, guys, we are excited to welcome Mackie Samoskevich here from the Florida Panthers. Mackie, thanks for jumping on the Florida Panther Insider podcast.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Happy Halloween, Mackie. What do you got cooking? What do you got going, man?
We just had our Halloween party the other night, so that was fun. It's nice to get some of the boys together. It's always good team bonding, get the whole family's together and whatnot, see some costumes. There's always good ones, so
yeah.
Nothing cooking right now. Usually I'd be doing some trick-or-treating, but I think I'm a little bit too old for that. So,
You can pass.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right, so
me and Lundy, a couple of the boys, maybe we'll go.
Get a pillowcase, do it old school.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you guys had your Halloween party on Wednesday night. First off, what did you go as? And number two, who had the best fit, as the kids say?
I went as me and a couple other guys did the dodgeball team, the Average Joes. Um, it was
Awesome.
pretty good. Nice, comfortable attire,
Yep.
and then who had the best one? There were a couple of good ones. There's always good ones. I think Chucky he dressed up as a rat with the Marchand um, name bar on the back, which was pretty good. Um, he's always got creative ones, so I'd probably
Yep.
go with that one.
Yeah.
So
That's a pretty good
yeah,
one. Matthew Kachuk
yeah,
going as a rat with Marchand's name bar. Nice. Very,
yeah. It was
very
good.
cool.
It's
Um,
good stuff.
yeah, we are a month into the season now. What has the season been like for you? Obviously, you've been up and down the lineup. Now you're playing with Sam Bennett. How has the first month of this season been for Mackie Samoskevich?
It's been great. It's been went by really fast. It's crazy. I didn't even know that we were a month in. So I guess that's a good thing. Been enjoying every day. The group's been great. Um, we're already, a tight knit group, and then obviously with being around each other for another month, it just gets even better. So, but in terms of the start of the year, I think I've been happy with it. You know, I think, like you said, playing with a bunch of other guys, it's been great. Being able to do that and learn other guys' games and learn what other guys like and the strengths and whatnot. I think it's been good. A nice skill to kind of have, and um, I think we had a nice long road trip there where things maybe didn't go well, but I thought in those times we kind of learned a lot about our group, and I remember even last year when we went through stretches like that, it was ended up being really good for our group. So I think overall, really positive kind of start for our group, I think.
Yeah, and Mackie Samoskevich is here with us on the Florida Panthers Insider. Last year was your first full season as an NHL player. Started on the fourth line, you played there for a while, kind of learned that defensive style of play before you started moving up
Yeah.
and down through the line. How beneficial was last year for you in just kind of learning the ropes? I mean, because people don't realize the travel and all that kind
Yep.
of stuff, playing back to backs,
Hmm.
that kind of thing. How much did
Yep.
you learn last year?
I learned a ton. Like you said, playing fourth line minutes maybe or not a lot of minutes. I guess it was a lot. Like it helped out a lot. I was able to kind of get just a taste of it right away, and um, you know, big thanks to the coaching staff for, I mean, giving me that opportunity, and then obviously coaching me through it and learning the things that I needed to learn. As a young guy in the league, you don't really what the game is like. I remember my first game, I was just like shocked at how fast it was, and that's one of the things you learn. And is space is very limited out there, and but once you kind of learn the league a little bit more and learn how teams play and stuff like that, it ends up adding a lot of help to it. So um, it was a really good learning experience for me. And then later on in the year, I kind of started to put things together and learned what my strengths were, and just kind of ran with it.
We spoke at the beginning of training camp. I think it was at the media day, but one of the big
Hmm.
changes this year is your number. You went from number 25 to number
Yep.
11, a number that means a lot to you. Could you tell our listeners
Yep.
why number 11 has meant so much to Mackie Samoskevich and the Samoskevich family over the years?
Yeah. So my older sister. So I have two sisters. They both play hockey growing up. One twin sister that played on various teams with me, and then one older sister that played boys hockey until she couldn't anymore. She was a really good player, and I think as a kid, I looked up to that. And you know, she was playing against players that are in the NHL nowadays, and was shutting them down pretty good. So it was something for me that kind of helped me fall in love with the game a little bit. And she always wore number 11, so I loved watching her. She was my idol growing up, and that's kind of why I started at a young age wearing it, and I kind of just kept wearing it as it went on, just because that was kind of the root of why I started playing the game in the first place. So when the opportunity came that I was able to kind of change my number, it was a no-brainer for sure.
Did you and Madison have to fight over who got to wear 11 when you guys were playing on the same teams, or did you win
Yeah,
that?
we did a couple
Yeah.
times. We switched off, but yeah, it was definitely nice having her around for sure.
And number 11 for the Florida Panthers, it's a good looking number. First off, the
I
double
know.
ones, it's a good looking number.
I
But
think so,
obviously in South Florida, Billy Lindsay wore it, and now Jonathan Huberdeau, and
yeah.
now it's Mackey's. That's pretty cool, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of good players that have definitely worn it. Huberdeau is one of those guys I loved watching too.
Yeah.
So I think I got some big shoes to fill for sure, but I think hopefully I'll represent it well.
Sometimes I'll be honest with you, up in the press box, sometimes I'll see you go around the way like Huberdeau. Oh no, it's Mackey. That 11. I mean, for 10, 11, however long it was,
Yeah, that's
synonymous with Huberdeau, right? Yeah, and you're having a heck of a year, so good on you, Josh.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, Mackie, when you, obviously you grew up playing in Connecticut and playing for Michigan later, what was kind of your perception of the Florida Panthers back then? And then, how has it changed, obviously, getting drafted in the first round by the Panthers? Like, what was your thoughts on that? Because you got drafted kind of when the whole franchise was turning, and now you've got to be part of it in such a pivotal, monumentous way in this last couple of seasons here.
Yeah, definitely extremely lucky to, kind of get picked by them at the right time, right when they start, turning things around, and super thankful for that. And I think I remember sitting, I think I was in a Holiday Inn. We were at I think World Junior Camp in the summer. We were in the Holiday Inn. I remember sitting with a bunch of other players that were getting drafted, and um, Florida was up next, and then I obviously found out that my name was going to be called, and definitely was excited first. That was, I mean, obviously playing in South Florida would be one of the coolest things ever, and then obviously with the players that were already there, I was just overjoyed with excitement, and you know looking back on it, it's pretty funny, where we're at today and how things have gone. So you know definitely thankful for everything.
Did you ever feel that you got kind of gypped out of being able to do the whole draft experience? It was obviously during COVID. The Panthers, I think Bill Zito drafted you from a yacht. That was the draft party was at the Fort Lauderdale Yacht Club. It kind of, I mean, because you always dream about it. I don't know, to go up on the stage and get the jersey and all that stuff, and that just wasn't a thing in 2021.
Definitely different. It definitely would have been nice to have obviously get up on the stage and stuff like that, and have the draft experience, but you know I'm still thankful for the way it went. Obviously it was very unpredictable times at the time, so I'm still obviously grateful for the way it went, and just nice to have my family there too, I think is a big thing. um, being around friends too. We were at the showcase, so we were able to kind of share that experience with each other. So it was still a fun experience for sure, but a little different.
Hard to believe that you were the last first round draft pick of the Florida Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
And you might be the last one for some time if you keep adding players and trading first round picks. Yeah.
I know. I guess that's a good thing, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
Mackie, I want to ask you, I got to watch your sister play when she was in the Isabel Cup a few years ago with the Whale. And, it's been quite an evolution in the last couple of years to see women's hockey come to such prominence. Having grown up with sisters that were great hockey players and had aspirations, like, how does that make you feel to see just this development of professional women's hockey now? And of course, your sister getting drafted as well recently.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see. Obviously, with my to have my other sister. Um, she was super excited. She got drafted to a great city in Vancouver, obviously, and I think in the past couple of years, it's really took a huge step. So it's nice to see them getting a little bit more opportunity with that, and I think they deserve it. There's a ton of good players that could play and really fun to watch. So I think it's really cool to see, and we're super excited, and so are we.
Well,
Well, we appreciate Mackie Samoskevich for joining us here. Mackie, thank you. We're having some technical stuff, but we appreciate you joining us here on the Florida Panthers Insider Podcast. We'll talk to you later, my man. Thank you. All right, Mackie Samoskevich from the Florida Panthers, number 11 with your Florida Panthers, joining us today on the podcast. And Josh, Mackie having a great start to the season. Last year, a rookie season where he learned, like you say, learned a lot, got a lot of great experience, from Paul Maurice and playing up and down the lineup. And that's helping him now because I think he's played on throughout the top 9 this season.
Yeah, he's getting lots of opportunity, and it's been great to see him step up and play in those opportunities. And apologies to Mackie for having technical difficulty. It can be hard with some of these, phones and things. But what we did get was awesome. It was great to have Mackie on the show. We'll have him back at a different time when we can maybe get that all sorted out. But
Mackie's a great guy to talk to all the time. I'll tell you what, I love talking to Mackie about all kinds of things. And like you said, he's grew up in Connecticut, was a high-end junior player, was a high-end collegiate player, and Florida drafted him. He played 2 seasons at the University of Michigan, one of the top college programs in the country, before joining the Panthers. And, listen, his first season he played mostly in Charlotte, but last year he was with the Panthers all season long, and I think that he really took a step forward, and you're seeing it this year. He came back into training camp faster than he was. He's just a great young player and part of the future of the Florida Panthers, because again he was drafted in 2021. I think his draft, like we said, got overshadowed, but he had COVID, so we didn't have a centralized draft. So he didn't get to do the jersey and all the fun stuff you get to do at the draft. But he was also overshadowed. That was the day Sam Reinhart got traded to the Florida Panthers, and that was the news of the day, right? Sam Reinhart coming from Buffalo to the Florida Panthers. But Mackie Samoskevich has been a fantastic addition to the Panthers, and another hit on the draft parade for Bill Zito. He drafted Anton Lundell the year before in 2020. So Bill's had 2 first-round picks, Anton Lundell, Mackie Samoskevich. Pretty good.
Absolutely. Well, George, why don't you kind of go ahead and line up what the upcoming schedule is here for the Panthers. We've got a couple of games coming up here, starting with Dallas on Saturday night, and then the Panthers take another road trip.
Yeah, this is a big week for the Panthers. Again, 5-1 in the month of October. They will start November at home on Saturday night against the Dallas Stars. It'll be their final home game for a couple weeks. The Florida Panthers, by the way, Saturday night, are asking fans to bring, it's kind of a food drive, but it's for the hurricane relief in Jamaica, and the Florida Panthers are teaming up with a air company that's going to deliver stuff. So if you can bring hurricane stuff, we're all in South Florida. We know we have a lot of hurricane supplies that you probably don't need right now. Bring them to the stadium, the arena on Saturday. Batteries, the bottled water, the canned goods, that kind of thing. They're going to go to Jamaica, where they were so hard hit by that hurricane. And the 50-50 raffle is going to benefit hurricane relief in Jamaica as well from Saturday. But a good game. Dallas Stars, again, a Western Conference challenger, just like the Vegas Golden Knights. This is going to be a big game for both teams. Dallas is a team that's been to the Western Conference final the past 3 years. We figured out of one of those 3 years, they were going to play the Panthers in the Stanley Cup final, especially last year. I thought Dallas was going to get past Edmonton, and we'd have the Pete DeBoer Paul Maurice final that we always wanted. Instead, the Stars were competitive. What a rough series for Dallas. Pete DeBoer gets replaced as head coach, but Dallas is still one of the top teams in the West. It's going to be a tough game for the Panthers. And then they go on the road. They've got the Anaheim Ducks on Tuesday out in Orange County. To kick off the West Coast swing, they've got the LA Kings. They've got the usual suspects, right? Vegas. They won't be going to Arizona this year. That's not on the agenda. But, yeah, it's going to be we'll see what the Panthers got, because going out west is never fun, but the trip is fun. Everybody loves going to Southern California and going to San Jose and Vegas and all that. So a big couple weeks ahead here for the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, and I think that that West Coast swing might be some time for team bonding and just trying to work out some of the kinks that they've been dealing with. And so we'll see how it goes in this next week for the Panthers. Hey, make sure if you are enjoying the podcast that you subscribe. You can get it in a bunch of different places. Anywhere that you get your podcasts, you can subscribe to the Florida Panthers Insider. And also make sure that you follow along on social media. Both George and I were posting there. George, every 5 seconds, has got something good to talk about with the Panthers. So make sure you follow at George Richards, or you can follow me at Josh Loves Hockey. Would love to talk to you. And then, of course, never forget to check out Florida Hockey Now, which is an indelible resource for incredible coverage of the Panthers every single day. It seems like George has got something up there. And so make sure you don't miss out on that. You definitely want to be enjoying all the content there at Florida Hockey Now. And so we've got lots of stuff there. We've got great plans for this show. There's more coming soon. We got some guests we're already working on lining up in future weeks. And so we hope that you guys enjoy your Halloween today, and appreciate everybody watching the show.
Thanks, everybody.
Go Cats.